Okay, so again, welcome to session 2E. My name is Kim Wall, and I'm the Southern Oregon representative for ESOL. And I will be here with our presenters, monitoring the chat and supporting them as they need. And just a reminder for everyone that we are recording this session. It will be available after the conference is over on the website. So today we're pleased to have Sara Packer and Penny Jahraus to share with us today about the ESOL Level 1 and Level 2 OER curriculum, entry into English. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to our presenters.
Excellent. And I should have got my timer going while that was happening. So Sarah, I'll do that in 5 minutes. Good morning, everybody. Oh, still for a second. I am Penny Jahraus, and just a little bit about me is I have a new grandson, first one born last week. So he's here with us. And I taught ESOL at PCC for 30 years and left that this past year, but still have it in my heart. And I am working hard with Sara to finish this OER for level 1 and 2 that we started before. I have also taught K-8. And so if anybody out there teaches younger kids, what I would love for everybody to do is, could you introduce yourself in the chat? Just, maybe put your email if you want us to have it later anyway, but what grade or subject or location you teach at could be helpful. And I think I'll let Sara introduce herself quick.
I teach ESOL at PCC, and this OER is something really new for me, and I'm very excited to develop it, hopefully with your help.
Oh, yes, this is true. We are in the pilot phase of the first 2 of our 3 themes, and the final themes are just about finished. Sarah might be finished. And so going into next term, the whole thing is ready for anybody and everybody to use. And the feedback we got after the first term people were piloting was awesome. And we made lots of tweaks, and that's just how this works. So please help us out if you can. I'd like to start out by talking about why does anybody use an OER? If you have ideas, pop them in the chat, and I will share a couple. They are affordable materials for our students. If they're using it purely online, it's free. Nobody has to pay. And if you print it, mine is coming to about $10 per theme, which we've been at PCC using a textbook with a workbook that's about $50 for a term, right? So this is much more affordable. But it's also flexible and editable. So you would download each theme or the materials, and then they're like your own new Google Doc. And you can, so tell me, have you ever used a textbook that was 100% perfect for what you wanted to teach? I have never in 30 years, right? So OERs give you the gift of, okay, you can see it all and use it as it is and hope for the best, or be like, oh, my class really needs to talk about this and add another activity or whatever. So that's really nice. Another thing is that you can use, when we have all 3 themes ready, use this as your curriculum instead of a textbook. But you could also transition or keep your textbook and use these materials to supplement. All right, so that's how some people are using it now, because we aren't quite ready to go with all of the themes. All right,
Portland.
I'm looking at the chat. Were there any other thoughts about why to use an OER? Someone in Nevada only uses OERs. And Linda, is that like a policy or a reason, or you want to share? I don't see Linda.
Who were you talking to? I'm sorry.
No, it says Linda. Oh, it's you, Linda G.
It's me. Hi.
Does your college only want you to use OERs, or is that a personal?
No, but it's definitely a movement. We have our own OER committee in our department, and we also have a college-wise committee, and there's definitely a movement towards it. And there is some resistance from people as well, but it's worked great for me. And like you said, no materials are perfect, so
Right.
it might as well be free.
Well, and when we got started, there was some resistance that I was frankly shocked that people had the energy to share that much resistance. But the people who've been trying it have been pleasantly surprised. All right,
The
we
other,
are going, sorry.
The other reason to develop a whole curriculum was when we were doing research, we found a lot of individual lessons, but nothing put together for a longer use.
Well, and the reason we're doing it together is several terms I got to teach level 1 and 2 combined at the last second. And then what? You use the level 1 book and it's too easy for half your class, or the level 2 book and it's too hard for half your class. So this way our 3 themes are the same themes at level 1 and 2 for all of the themes. And so the idea was that that would help someone who is in that position, because it always seemed to be at the last minute. All right. I think, Sarah, you are going to share about the level 1 first. So I think I'm going to turn it.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen and show you basically with the time that we have, I think we both want to just talk about access and how you get a link. We both changed our names to be our email addresses, and so the easiest way is for just to email us, and we will email you a link to both the 1 and 2 curricula as they stand now. They're not quite done, but almost, and there's plenty in there for you to use. So before I open up the link, I just wanted to say that one of my goals was to collect a huge amount of material under each heading, or when you'll see that everything is in folders, named folders. And because I realized that a lot of when I don't use everything in the textbook and I try to develop something new on my own, a lot of time is spent searching. So I try to include in the folders a lot of material so that you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of time searching. It's all there. So I'm going to share my screen now and show you what the doorway looks like. We've called our curriculum Entry to English. Is that visible? Yes. Okay. So this is the doorway to the lower level. And by the way, our grant said that we were going to include literacy, and that is lagging behind. So we fully intend to do that, but it's not here yet. And as you can see, right here in my doorway is also a link to Penny's level 2. So here's the doorway, and we realized that we needed to put something in about students with limited vision, so that's there, and a little bit about a philosophy of what students are learning at level 1 and also level 2. And the other thing that I'm going to go back to the doorway for a second, because that's kind of concise. I realized that I do not launch into teaching themes right away in level 1. language beginners don't have enough tools to even understand themes. So I teach, I start out by teaching the alphabet, numbers, life numbers like phone numbers and addresses, and abbreviations. That's what my class is into now in week 3. So I created a whole separate folder apart from our themes that is basic skill development. And I don't think you would do any of it completely, but you, what I do is I space it throughout the term. And then when I feel like students are ready and they're comfortable in class and they have enough skills to ask questions, then I start with the themes, and I keep weaving in things from the basic skill development as I see that students need it. So going back down here, tell me if I'm scrolling too fast, but you can all get this link and look at it yourself. So this is basic skill development and supplemental activities. So there's a folder for the first day of class. I noticed that all of our textbooks have a welcome unit, unit 1. So I included that. Every single folder, including the theme folders, has a lesson planning guide, which means that you can click on it and open it, and then copy it directly into, let's see if I can, oops. Copy parts of it directly into your lesson plan. This explains exactly how to carry out each part of the lesson. But you know, you may read through it and not need it. You may just need the name, or you may want to just bring up the link. Okay, so every folder has a lesson planning guide. Well, here's one that doesn't, but it's just silhouettes of and pictures of animals. There are a lot of picture dictionaries that you can use and tweak. The idea with Google Docs, which you may know, is that you make a, when you look in the original curriculum, you make a copy of what you want and transfer it to your own files, and then you can tweak it, use it, add. If you add anything, please let us know, and we'll put it in our curriculum and credit it to you. So you can see the list of supplemental folders, maps. A lot of it is oriented towards Oregon or towards Portland, but you can tweak. Telling time, weather, weekend activities is something that I get into usually in the second half of the term. And I always start the class with a board with board questions. Right now, the board questions are like, what day is it? And how are you? And things like that. But they get more and more complicated as we add learning themes. Okay, so then there's the theme units. We have 3 themes: family, home, and community, and sub-themes, subfolders under that. You can see that each one of these has a lesson planning guide. Theme 2, daily routines and jobs. 5 folders with lesson planning guides. And the one that we're finishing up now, food and health. So each of these themes really contains 2 or 3 different ideas that could carry you for, I think, at least a week, and probably a lot more. So I'm going to open one of these and then show you, let's see, how am I doing for time?
You have like 2 or 3 more minutes and then question time for your.
Oh, okay,
fun part.
great. So I opened the family folder. And this is what I see. So one approach certainly is to, if you look at the lesson planning guide and your eyes start to glaze over, instead of being in, when you're in Google Docs, you should click on grid. It's in the upper right-hand corner. Make sure you're in grid. And that's how you get all these thumbnails. And so if you don't want to use the lesson planning guide, or even if you do, you can see all these oh, wow. Hey, colors. Yeah, I always teach that. Let's see what that's about. And then you get these, you get the doc that you've clicked on. So that is also, here's one where I've just collected a bunch of images from various parts of the, internet. And so if you don't like something, or if you think something is missing, you could scroll through here and maybe find something without going through the laborious process of, those all look very, but I guess this one isn't so as binary. Trying to get away from binary as much as possible. But you could, click on an image that catches your eye if, you're not using the lesson planning guide, or even if you are. So let me just click on this again to show you. This is a, start here, do this next, do this next. Obviously, you could do this for 10 minutes and decide to do something else, and then come back to this over a period of days or even a couple weeks.
And everybody, Sarah set it up like this for level 1 because any level 1 class could be literacy students. It could be almost level 2 students, and of course, a mix of all of them, right? And you find out what they don't know, and then that's the part you're going to focus on. You cannot teach everything every term, right? So that's why it's set up so it's easy to, okay, this is what my class needs. This is what we need.
It's also, I think, a quick, if you do decide to use a textbook or a workbook or both, and you need to supplement, this is a great way to quickly pick a supplement. And again, if you end up developing something, which I'm sure you would, that should go in here, let's put it in, because the more materials you have, and I will also add a link to the lesson planning guide if we receive more materials. Okay, I think I'm going to stop sharing.
Does anyone
And
have any questions about the level 1 materials
Yeah.
at this point for a few minutes? We'll look
I see DC Jahraus here, and she's been piloting our curriculum a few at level 1. Yeah, I don't know whether anybody else has gotten hold of a link and has been using it. If there's no questions, maybe DC, you could talk a little bit about your experience or what it's like.
I think you overqualified me here. I've used it a few things to get a few ideas, but I got a deck of slides when I started just in the summer term, and I'm new at this. My ESOL is fresh. Yeah, so I've just used it for great ideas and for a sense of what I can expect in my beginner level. Yeah, so it's been a good guide. Next term, winter term, I'm hoping to really utilize it. And yeah, so that's my experience.
Perfect. It's perfect that you said that, because we want people to feel like there are a few people who are only using it, and I'm sure that they're supplementing from their own materials. But if you whatever you have, you can use it at whatever level, from 1 or 0 to everything or a lot or whatever works for you. And again, we would love to hear what is working for you. That is such valuable feedback. Yeah, Leslie.
I'm curious, I think my understanding of your program is that you have students who do repeat courses multiple times. Is that true? Because at PSU, we've now integrated our levels 1 and 2. We don't have them anymore, and we're calling that level Essential English. And we're bringing in more of these theme-based ideas, and we're trying to figure out how to have enough material to be able to accommodate for those repeat students. And I was wondering if you could just speak to that a little bit.
Well, that's always tricky. And I think the good thing about this approach is that there's always more in there. There's always something that you didn't use. And my experience with the repeat students is that the first time they're kind of like deer in the headlights, like, oh my God, I don't understand anything. I don't know what she's saying. You know, then the second time they're a little more comfortable, even if they've had the material before. And then the third time around, they're just like, oh my God, I know everything, you know, and then you can really use them as, you know, to help the beginners. So at PSU, though, they enter at a much higher level than beginning, no?
Well, it's beginning for us, but you know, we still have our lower levels are not so academically focused. They still are foundational. And we even have a pre-entry program, a pre-entry level where sometimes we have, you know, true beginners, nearly true beginners. I mean, we are starting with ABC and all of that. So we've got a pretty wide variety and multi-level in our curricular offerings.
One of the things that you could do, I've been trying to hone each document down so that it's really simplified, but you could add, like I eliminated continuous, present continuous from my B handout, but you could add that back in, you know, to give a variety of learners a good experience.
Thank you for sharing this. It looks like there's really a wealth there, and we're really looking for how to kind of accommodate those multi-level learners in this essential English. It's mostly because we have fewer and fewer students that we have to combine levels now, essentially, but we're expecting we're going to have a lot of repeats. So thank you very much for this.
Oh, yeah. And if we didn't already say this, you can either put your email in the chat or email us directly. We'll send you a link, and then that's a really good way for us to keep nagging you. You know, did you use one? Did you use two? What did you think? You know, because we really want to keep improving it. Any other questions? I think it takes a little while to get used to my format. Penny's is much easier. It's much more like a textbook, but I think once people start kind of noodling around, you get the idea, and it's easier.
Yeah, no, I think for level 1 or a multi-level class, it's just perfect. Pick however many of that topic, and oh, my class has that, so we're gonna move on. Okay, I'm gonna share the level 2. I've worked so far, got 2 of the themes ready, and I'm gonna screen share. Please put questions in the chat as we go. And, oh, I'm so excited to see someone in the audience, here we go, who helped me get going on this curriculum. So I'll get to that in just a second. All right. This, like Sara, started with kind of a doorway document. So when this gets published as an OER in Open Oregon, this is what you'll see. And then you can just click right here to go to the theme 1 or theme 2. And then this will be here soon, theme 3. And like Sara's, you can get to the level 1 materials all right here. And then these are the different topics and grammar in each of my themes. At level 2, I think it is there's a limited number of grammar topics we're talking about, but I want them to master them before they go to level 3. So there is a grammar focus, but it's all woven into the theme materials. And so that's a little different than the level 1 version. And so you can see these are things that you might find in another textbook. And so different themes and different grammar. Something that I'm doing in the textbook that I was using most recently at PCC, you know, it kind of had a couple of grammar in each chapter, and there were about 14 chapters. And so there's just 3, so they're woven in. And I introduce, where is it? Past tense in theme 2 with just the regular verbs, and then we come back to it in theme 3 and expand. So there's some of that recycling going on, but I end each theme with writing a real paragraph. I think that's important. And so I'm going to click on theme 1 here, and it goes to this. And that looks similar. And then this, we're getting into the theme. And I just want to highlight Susan. Are you still here? Thank you.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
The first part of writing a new OER is researching to see what else is out there. Because if it's already written, they don't want to fund you. And Susan was on a team at Clackamas Community College that wrote grammar for the experienced beginner units, and those are terrific. So you can link to them right here and check them out in the OER Commons as well. The next thing you see in mine is the table of contents. This is pretty long because it goes to everything that's in there, but I think it helps you get to where you want to get. And so I'm just going to show you a few of the things. Whatever you click on in here, it'll take you to that page in the document. And this is the same that you saw on the doorway sheet. What are the learning targets? I start each theme with warm-up questions. So it's activating the schema for this, what's going to happen in this theme. And then you'll see the same questions again at the very end of the theme. And I suggest that you could use that as, like part of an assessment, because they should have be able to answer all those questions by the end. Then
Can they print this out page by page if they should choose to do that, or?
Yes, the way it works is I'll get to something where I'll show you. So you can totally print it page by page, or you can print the whole thing, and to send it to the print shop, download it as a PDF. Otherwise, something can happen to all the activities crossing over pages. All right, so I put in dialogues throughout, more than readings. There are some readings in here, but, and Tim is here. One of the things it says for each dialogue is listen. Oh, I actually changed this one to listen to your teacher read it. But what I'm going to do is stick in a recording. So we haven't got to that part yet. And so, dialogue version of reading, but all of these weave in the grammar that's coming and that theme. Let's see, then there's lots of activities, related or about the grammar. And so, there's grammar in here. Thank you, Susan. I put a couple of songs, at least, in each of the themes. I just think that is a really important way to learn the cadence and pronunciation and have some fun, all of that kind of thing. Let's see. Now I'm going to, one thing you'll see after, so there's a dialogue and then some grammar, and then you go back to notice, to go back to that same dialogue. And I think recycling the materials is really important at lower levels to have more success and to notice now, whoa, what was the grammar in there? Then here and there are links to the theme, more materials. And I'm not going to click on this one. I'm going to click on the next one, but it's kind of the same idea. So just different, you know, grammar and practice, lots of pictures, and they do take forever to go find so that they're open source and available. But when we get to this one, I'm going to click on it, and there's a note to the teacher to tell you, you know, take a look at this. Oops, I already opened it. And oops. And so it's not, the students won't have copies of this, although if they're looking at it online, they could click on it just as well, right? And so just a little more info that, you know, you might want to use, some terms you might not. So it's not, if you were to print the whole curriculum, this wouldn't get printed necessarily. Some suggestions for homework. All right, my timer went quiet. Let's see what else. Couple other things. These listen and reads is where you have partners reading out loud to each other. So partner A is using this page and partner B is looking at the next page in the book. And so let's see, I guess partner B would read first while partner A is writing the close that goes with it. And then switching for partner, you know, the next paragraph, I should say. I talked about songs. Another thing in here are first class readers. Is anybody familiar with those from way back when? A few people. They are ideal if you have literacy students in your class, especially. That's who they were written for. And I encourage you to check out the teaching guide. We got permission from the author, who was like, well, is somebody still using that? She's retired and was like, wow, absolutely, go for it. And so this is not the whole story. You have to open it up so students can see the whole thing. But this is the kind of thing that you would be projecting in class, probably print it off so that they can work on it. A couple of updates. Let's see. And so there's just different activities in here, and the teacher's guide explains kind of how to go about it. Okay, Sarah, I feel like I might be going over here.
Mhm.
The last thing is there are games somewhere here. And who's familiar with Flippities? A couple people. I love these. Click here to get the rules to see how to play. And then it's super fun. Students, you know, roll the dice, they get a question, they can see the answer, and then they get to move or not, right? I like to play that with the whole class. And the last thing is at the end is the writing I mentioned. Go down to the bottom. And you know, so what am I asking? You have a couple of options. Here's what's a paragraph? And then, oh, this one, do you know about use templates, everybody? Anybody? It's new to me, and it's a way that forces people to make a copy that actually makes a copy. Oh no, I have to log in. I'm not going to do that right now. When you get to this, then just click use the template, and then it'll become your own copy or the student's own copy. Model paragraph, some more tips, and then a rubric. And at the end is back to those questions from the beginning. So that's how my themes are set up. A lot like a textbook that I would love to use, that kind. And so do we have any questions about level 2?
Want to stop sharing so we can see
Sure,
everybody?
good idea.
I did want to interject that we also got permission not only from first class readers, but from Action English. So there are a number of those stories also scattered throughout both level 1 and 2. And we've changed them, updated them, added text to the Action English.
Yes. Susan asked a great question, and we are going to hold off putting them in Open Oregon until after we get one term of piloting all of them. So that's winter term. And so either spring break or for sure in June, because that's when it needs to get published. But I hope to have it sooner. Susan, did you publish it before it was kind of done and then changed it afterwards? I'm a little hesitant to do it.
No, we were finished and ready. Now we're trying to actually get a grant to update the material, and we're going to apply next year. But so that we will be updating things. But yeah, we waited until we were done.
Yeah. So, but in the meantime, thank you everybody for sharing your emails or getting our emails, and we're happy to share them with you. But we really would like feedback because we know that they're in the pilot phase. And, people found lots of things, and the more picky the comments, the better, because, we're just, when you get a textbook and the very first question is some kind of crazy exception and you're like, did nobody notice that? Well, we're doing that ourselves now. So please help us.
So one thing you can see right away is that Penny's format and mine are really different. Eventually, when we publish, mine will have a much more sequential thing that you can download and print as a packet. I'm thinking that maybe I will keep this other format also, so it's easier to pull out documents. And I'm hoping, I'm not sure how that works, but I'm hoping that it will work. And I would like to continue adding things. Even after we publish. I haven't done many recordings. Oh, that's one thing that I wanted to say. If you're teaching remotely, we do have one person at PCC, it's Sue Mosier, who is piloting this remotely. And up till now, she has just used the OER as a supplement because she really wants all the students to have a book in their hand. But with Penny's curriculum, it's ready for that to happen, and several remote teachers have already done that.
Yeah, Nancy Hinshaw did the first term. Yeah.
More questions?
I think we're running out of time. Do you want to do the closing?
Okay. I also want to say that I see Tim is here. Tim has been one of our gurus in just encouraging us to develop our OER, and hi Tim. And he along with other teammates and alone has done a fantastic job of increasing the number of ESOL resources out there for free. And let's see, I think I've already said everything. And I'll say again, please send us, especially if you have literacy material that you'd like to see as a part of this, phonics materials, or anything that you have developed for level 1 or 2 or both or something similar. We will include it and give you credit.
I just put the link for Open Oregon in the chat. Ours is not on there quite yet, but Susan's is, and lots of them. Tim's are, Davida, Eric, lots of people. And it's very searchable. You can find out when grants are coming for your own ideas. What I learned this summer working with K-8 teachers who are ESL teachers, and I'll put that link in there. Does anybody here? Is everybody here teaching adults? Is anybody teaching kids? Kim,
No good.
are we out of time?
I teach kids. I teach 5th grade, but for ESL, I teach adult learners.
Ah, okay. And we came up with career connected learning units and published a K2 one, a 3 to 5 one, and a middle school one. And they are very usable for adults too. And so those are in this other link because there's, of course, K-12 and college don't speak the same language, apparently.
Oh, I wanted to, I'm just going to share my screen quickly again to show you that
Oops. I don't know.
at the very end here, we included links to other things. The Bow Valley readers, if you don't know about this, here's the Action English and First Class readers, and this wonderful thing by Tim and Davida and a few other teachers at PCC Southeast Campus. This Open Oregon Press Books, if you don't know about it, I have used it over and over and over again when I take students into the language lab. So it's a really useful resource, and those are linked. Some of those outside resources are linked right in the curriculum. Any other questions or comments? Oh, one last thing is that we really, if you would like a much more detailed personal Zoom tour through either of our curricula or both, email us and we'll set up a Zoom meeting with you, one or both of us, and we'll really lead you through all of the details.
All right.
I think that's all.
We have reached our time, but everybody, thank you for spending some time with us and checking out our OER. And yeah,
If you want to, if you have a few minutes to stick around and want to talk to us more, we'll stay. Otherwise.
Thank you so much, ladies. We really appreciate you taking the time to present your materials with us. So some of us might have to sign out to go to a different Zoom.
everybody maybe.
Yeah.
Our
All right.
pleasure.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.